Well, hey there, everyone. This is Corinna Bench from Shared Legacy Farms and from MyDigitalFarmer.com. Hope you guys are doing well today. Welcome back. And I want to say a special welcome to anyone who's here for the first time inside our group. Every week I show up and do a free marketing training video like this one. And today's topic is going to be a good one. I have a feeling it's going to become one of our classics. I am going to be talking about the top 10 marketing assets that I think are the most important ones for me. And if you are a beginner in the marketing space, if you are a beginner in the CSA space and you're kind of just trying to figure out where should I begin if I want to start this out right, if I want to put some of the key building blocks in place, when I begin, what are my options? What are the things that an expert in this marketing field with CSAs would maybe recommend? And so I've been doing this for 10 years. I've only been doing digital marketing for about 2 or 3 now. But looking back at all the things I've tried and what I'm doing now and the results I'm seeing now, these are the things that are really making a difference for me. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through what those top 10 are. This is not in any particular order necessarily, but I do think the first 3 were the first ones I thought of, so they are probably some of the most important ones. So here we go. We're going to dive right in, and I want you to take some good notes. I'm also going to make this list available as a freebie that you can download. You'll be able to get that by the end of today. I haven't posted it yet, but you'll be able to get it at sharedlegacyfarms.com/10 things, the number 10 things. And that's where you'll be able to grab this list, okay? And then you can just use it sort of like a checklist. So here we go. Where do you start out when you're first beginning your journey into marketing? What is, the most important thing that I think you need to have in place? And if you've been following me for a while, you're not going to be surprised when I say that I think the first thing that you need to have is an email service provider. So I know that a lot of you are still skeptical about the power of email. You think that email is going the way of the dinosaur. I think it may in the future go the way of the dinosaur, but it is not going there yet. And so for now, it is still producing for me like gangbusters. So just to give you a little bit of perspective here. So since February of this past year of 2018 to now, which is the end of August, I have gained a net of 400 email subscribers. And that doesn't include the 200 or 300 that I actually deleted or culled from my list because they were not really engaging. So I actually had more than that. But that's quite a significant increase in just, 6 months time. And those people, some of them are farmers like you, but a lot of them are actually CSA leads and people who've joined my email list through my various entry points. So I nurture these people. I take the time to warm them up, turn them into a warm audience, and eventually they become buyers. So I really believe in this content marketing system that I've sort of bought into. It's working for me, and you really need to have an email service provider, a good one, not just Gmail, but an email service provider that will actually automate, do things for you based on certain behaviors. So I use something called ConvertKit. I'm an affiliate for that program because I am such a big believer. I've tried lots of different ones. Well, not lots. I've tried 4 different ones. And this is the one I've come back to because I just think that it's intuitive, it's easy, and it continues to get better. They're adding more and more features. And so I'll put a link for that particular email service provider in the comments here so that you can take a look at it and try it out for free for a month. But it is really fantastic. So what I think your email service provider needs to be able to do is, number 1, it needs to have the ability to create what are called drip campaign or email sequences. And these are emails that you can write in advance, put them in order, tell it when exactly to trigger, so when will they drip out. And you can even set those up so that they go off when a certain person is tagged a certain way. So being able to create automatic drip campaigns, being able to tag people. One of the things that I like about ConvertKit versus MailChimp is that you don't get charged for every single person that gets put on different lists. So I think in MailChimp, if a person is on multiple lists, you'll get charged for them every single time they show up on a different list. So for me, that would be totally inconceivable because I have people who are tagged 6 or 7 different ways and I would have to pay for them 6 or 7 times. So that's why I like ConvertKit, and there are other email service providers like Drip that do that as well, that you only pay once for that subscriber. So just pay attention to that. And also the big one for ConvertKit is the high deliverability rate. Like my emails go and get into those inboxes, not into the promotions tab. And so there are certain email service providers that are better at that. I know ConvertKit is known for being one of the best. So that is a big deal for me because I want it to actually be seen by the customers. And a lot of that has to do with your open rates and how you write your headlines so that people will actually open them. If you deliver sustainably good content on a regular basis, I mean, there's this algorithm that watches that. But overall, those are the things that you need to look for if you're looking for an email service provider. So number 1, get a good email service provider and be willing to pay for it a little bit. I know I started out with Mad Mimi. I only paid like $10 a month, and that was good for a kind of a beginner level. But it didn't have all the integrations that I was looking for as I became a more established business. And if you've ever tried switching email service providers, you know it's a pain in the butt. So if you're going to do it to get to a good one, you should really do your research. Find one that you like so that you don't have to do it again. All right, the second asset that I would recommend is probably another obvious one, and that's a website. Your farm really needs to have a website in this day and age, and you probably all have that. You can probably check this one off the list, but I'm going to kind of follow this up with a caveat and say it needs to be a good website. And that's kind of a question that I want to challenge you with. I want you to look at your website and be like, is this a good website? What does the website say about my brand? And is it communicating? How is it communicating? Is it confusing? And I think I just did a redo of my website this past season. It was a long process, and I'll walk you guys through that someday, I promise, because I learned a ton. And I feel like I kind of know the lay of the land now for how to do that. But I will say that I was surprised. If you go and look at my website, sharedlegacyfarms.com, it's actually pretty simple. There aren't a lot of pages. And that, I feel like, was the big aha moment for me, is that the simpler you can make your website, the better. And I think that the higher your conversions are, because your customers don't want to be confused. So having a great website is important. This is where you're going to put all of your assets, all your marketing assets live here. This is where you put your PDFs and your cheat sheets, and your lead magnets live there so that you can get leads. This is where you put your product pages. This day and age, people are digital. They are shopping on the internet. And so if you don't have a website, you're going to get passed over for someone who does, because it's just going to look like you're not with the times. So number 2 is a good website. Number 3 is a Facebook group and or a Facebook business page. They are not the same thing. So if you want to run Facebook ads, you're going to have a Facebook business page. Now, unfortunately, the glory moment of the Facebook business page has kind of come and gone. It's not really where it's at anymore. And in fact, in the digital marketing space, a lot of entrepreneurs are saying, I'm not really sure what to do with my business page anymore, as opposed to my groups, because there's just not a lot of action there. Unfortunately, if you want to run Facebook ads, though, you need to have one. So if you haven't begun a Facebook page, you probably should get that going. Try to get as many followers as you can. It's hard to get that started nowadays because people just aren't in the process of liking business pages anymore. But you do need to have one. And it's a place where you can be posting videos and pictures and kind of starting to brand your farm. But I think where the real power is right now is my private Facebook page. And that is where all my members, my CSA members are going. They are checking that on a regular basis, 2-3 times a day. That's where the engagement, the interaction is happening. So I don't really focus a lot on my outside facing business page, except to do a little bit of outside branding and do lead generation. Where I really do a lot of my content creation and my care and nurture of my customers is inside of my private Facebook group. And for those of you who have been in my course, How to Develop a Private Facebook Group, maybe you can put a comment in here and talk a little bit about what you've seen, what the effects you've seen from making your own group this year, because I know that there have been some who have had amazing results as well once they started their group. So again, it's a place where you can bring your customers who are already loyal to you and cultivate them so they continue to buy more from you, so they continue to grow in their customer journey. And that's not something that you can do as well on just the public-facing business page. Now, there are many different types of groups. You don't have to make just a private group. Mine is private, so you can only get in if you're a CSA member. But you could make a group that's public. that anyone can join. And so that might be something to think about doing if you're trying to develop leads, just because right now the Facebook algorithm is favoring groups. So if you actually go into your own Facebook feed and just kind of scroll through, you'll probably notice that most of the things you're seeing are from your personal page and groups, not so much from business pages anymore. So it's something to think about. If you're interested in learning how to set up one of those for your farm, I will be offering that class, that workshop again this fall, and you can join and learn how to do that. And it's going to be updating it for next year. All right. Number 4 marketing asset that I think you need is the lead magnet, a lead magnet. Now, I've done an entire deep dive training on lead magnets, and if you can't find it, go into this page, search the group for it, go into my Vimeo page and look for it. It is really, really good. I'm not going to go into detail here, but a lead magnet is essentially the bait that you put on your website, that you post on your Facebook page to try and get people to give you their email address so that you can continue to warm them up as a customer and follow up with them later. Now, the trick is, if you're going to do lead magnets, you have to be committed to the email system, to the process of writing a weekly email to your list, the process of creating a drip campaign that will slowly sell them on a product. If you're not going to have time to do that and you're not going to want to do that, then don't make a lead magnet, because you're going to waste your time. The worst thing you can do is collect an email from someone and then never follow up with them, because you will just fall off their radar forever. And when you try to reconnect, they're going to be like, who are you? Delete. Okay, so a lead magnet, an example of a lead magnet for my farm, the 2 that have just been really highly converting consistently for the last 2.5 years have been my the 6 questions you need to ask before you join a CSA, and my harvest calendar, which is basically a grid of what we grow, and because people want to know what's going to be in my box. And that is a very popular download for people. So that would be an example of a lead magnet. You create content, but you kind of put it behind this wall and you say, you can only get this if you trade me your email address. And many people will do that. And what's great about lead magnets, if they're carefully crafted and you pick the right topic, then you are automatically segmenting your audience. You are attracting the ideal customer, because a person who's going to download the 6 questions to ask before you join a CSA, I know they're interested in CSA, not just farm produce in general, right? I have another lead magnet on my homepage, the A to Z Vegetable Storage Guide. So I get a lot of people who download that. It's awesome. It's 54 pages of how to store every vegetable in the world. But I don't necessarily know if those people want to be a CSA customer. They just might be interested in buying vegetables and growing their vegetable prowess, right? Or their foodie prowess, but they may not join my CSA. But it's the beginning and the very top of my funnel where I can start the process, and then I can kind of lure them in. Once I have their email, I kind of keep talking about the CSA every now and then I let them know, hey, here's a lead magnet for this. Are you interested? So some of those people enter the funnel there and then kind of move into my other lead magnet. So having these lead magnets is a huge, huge, huge piece of the digital marketing machine. I cannot even tell you how big it is. And when you look at my the subscribers that have joined in the last 6 months, the 400 net subscribers that I've gained, they are all, for the most part, coming in through some kind of a lead magnet. Every now and then I personally add them in myself if they gave me a card at the market and said, hey, add me to your list. But most of the time it's through a lead magnet. So I will once again reference that video. Go check that out, how to build a lead magnet. I give you tons of examples of what lead magnets might be for you so that you can pick one that works. Okay, number 5 marketing asset. This is actually the one from this list that I don't have yet. I don't have this one yet. A picture, a photograph of smiley, happy people using your product. Okay, now this one I got from my Don Miller, the workshop, the Story Brand workshop that I went to with Don Miller. If you guys don't listen to his podcast, the Story Brand workshop, or the Story Brand podcast, I highly recommend that you do. It's especially the first season is really, really good. And he has an excellent book, which I consider the textbook for this group, the Story Brand framework. And so again, a great book. You can find that on mydigitalfarmer.com. If you look on the My Resources page, you'll see the link for it. It takes you to Amazon. But picture of smiley, happy people using your product is so huge because when your customers are coming to your website and looking around and trying to decide if this is for them, they are looking for themselves in your marketing assets on that page, right? They're not as interested in necessarily your story. Remember, they're the hero in their story and you are the guide. So they're looking to see, is this working? What they do, this box thing that they're doing for customers, can I see myself in this box story? Is this going to work for me? I want to see other people who are using the product and who are having a good experience. So if you only have pictures of the box or pictures of your vegetables or pictures of yourself, that's fine, but make sure you don't forget pictures of customers, happy customers who look like they love it. Let me tell you, that's social proof like nothing else. We talk a lot in the copywriting world about how important words are. Words are everything. You need to get inside the person's head, your customer's head, so that you can see what it is they're thinking and then put those words on the page. But just as important as words are pictures. Pictures are powerful copy. And we don't think of pictures as being copy sometimes, but they are. So the types of pictures that you're putting on your website matter. You need to get one of your customers using the product. So this is the one I don't have. I've actually hired my photographer, Jess. I interviewed her, I think in the last training that we did. And I have asked her, I need you to go into one of my customers' homes. I've already arranged it. And she's going to do a photo shoot of them using my box in the kitchen. I'm going to have the box on the counter and they're going to be chopping. And I got this idea of what I wanted just by looking at the blueapron.com website. I mean, and some of those HelloFreshes, that they're doing that. They're taking their customers, their ideal customer, and putting them in a kitchen and taking photographs of them so that a person goes to that site and sees, oh, that could be me. That's what I want to be, and casts kind of the vision, the before and after state for them. Okay. So this picture is all about showing the transformation that your customer wants, why they're coming to your website in the first place. Remember, they have a problem they want to solve, they want to transform in some way. And so you want to capture that transformation in this picture. All right, number 6, marketing assets that you need to start collecting if you don't have them yet, testimonials. I did an entire series pretty recently all about testimonials. I think there's like 4 videos in that series, so you can get a deep dive all about testimonials. This is basically the social proof piece. It is one of the 4 reasons that people finally decide to buy, so you cannot ignore this. People buy when they see someone else says it's good. So you need to be collecting testimonials from your customers and putting them all over the place. And that very specific training series that I talked about talks about all of this. How you know a good testimonial from a bad one, how do you collect them, where do you put them, where do you find them, and so forth. So I want to just, again, reference you to go and watch that. But I really only think if you're just like freaking out and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot to do, Corinna, you really just need like 2 or 3 if you're just a beginner. Just get 2 or 3 and that'll get you started. Now I have a whole lot more in a Google Doc that I've been collecting so I can pick and choose from it. But when you're just starting, just get 2 or 3. And I talk in that training series about how to go about getting them from people if you're just beginning, okay? All right, number 7, the customer onboarding email sequence. Okay, this is kind of going back to email, why you need an email service provider. The customer onboarding sequence. Now, this might surprise you, but I really, really believe that this is a key piece in customer retention and keeping customers happy. Now, I want you to think about first of all, what is the customer onboarding email sequence? As soon as your customer buys your CSA product, they need to get something in return, and not just the receipt, not just the confirmation email that says, thank you for buying. No, I mean more than that. There needs to be another email that comes almost immediately after that says, welcome. I am so excited that you joined us. You are not going to regret this. Here's why this was a good decision. Boom, boom, boom. Here are your next steps. 1, 2, 3. Open the next email that you get tomorrow. Boom. Okay. And what this does is this affirms the person's decision to buy, because let me tell you, they just shelled over $400 or maybe more, and they probably will have buyer's remorse at some point in this process, especially if they hear nothing from you besides the confirmation email. In many cases, people buy this and then the CSA doesn't start for like 4 or 5 months, or 2 or 3 months. And so you need to be doing something to continue to build a relationship with them. So there's actually research on this that shows cross industries, not just in CSAs, that customer retention is an issue. And one of the things that really helps with this, they've discovered, is the customer onboarding process. Companies that have an onboarding process immediately after they buy, that nurture that relationship, that start to try and build a customer experience before they even open the product, that really helps, and that keeps them engaged, and it causes them to be more satisfied with their purchase and their overall experience later. And it actually increases retention. They've studied that as well. So there is a great podcast that's all about this. It just came out, and it's, again, on the StoryBrand podcast. It's episode 110 with Joey Coleman. He's talking all about this issue of customer retention and customer onboarding. I want you to go listen to that because it kind of gives you other ideas for what you could be doing. But that email sequence, I think mine is like 6 emails long, and it just drips out every few days, like every, maybe 2 days in a row after they first buy, and then there's like a pause, like 4 days, and another one comes out, and it's just a way to stay in touch with them and to tell them, here's what I want you to do next, because they just joined, they're like, well, I don't know what to do, and you have to tell them, here's what I want you to do. Join my private Facebook group. Okay, next one, now I want you to go here and get into my academy. Now I want you to go here and watch this video so that you learn how the box process works. Now I want you to notice, do you see what I'm saying? So just kind of helping them feel like, okay, someone's guiding me by the hand. So this is your role, the guide. They are the hero in the journey. Don't let them start the journey and then you just abandon them at the trailhead, okay? You've got to take them down the path and get them started and get them to their first box so they can open it and be like, oh, I know what I'm doing, all right? All right, so one of the things that might help you, I'm just gonna throw this in here, is if you wanna kind of get an idea of how I nurture people on my list. This is not the customer onboarding thing, but it might be helpful for you to see how I do emails, because I do write a weekly email to everyone on my list. I have kind of different segments. And if you want to see how I write those, I want to encourage you to just join. You can go and subscribe, sharedlegacyfarms.com/DFLab, and that will get you on my email list for this particular group. And that way I have you in my email list and I know what I can send you to kind of continue to grow you in this respect. And you can also kind of study how I write emails to you every week and kind of learn from that. Okay, the 8th marketing asset is this, a YouTube channel. Now, this might surprise some of you as well. I would not have said this 2 years ago, but because I have become such a content creator and I'm kind of in the thick of content marketing, I have to create content. I have to create assets and put them somewhere. Okay, so I'm making a lot of videos already for my Facebook page, doing Facebook Live videos like this, where I add value, where I teach stuff. And it's a shame to just let them wither and fade into the distance on these Facebook pages. So I actually download many of them, put them onto my computer, and then upload them onto YouTube or onto Vimeo. Now I think YouTube is better because it's the #2 search engine in the world. And so this is an opportunity for you to, when you create content, you could do a series on the 3 questions you should ask yourself before you join a CSA. You could do 1 question for every video, and you could stick it on YouTube. You could put it as a series, a playlist, so that people binge watch it when they finally discover it. And you could even drop lead magnets in your videos and be like, hey, if you want to get the entire list, go to sharedlegacyfarms.com/writecsa, and you get the whole thing and you can read it. And now you capture their email address. So the YouTube channel has become a lead generation magnet for me. It's also a place where, just because I have a bunch of content, people come there, they consume it, they start to see you as an expert or as a guide, and it just elevates your brand. So I feel like that's something you should think about, especially if you have a knack for video and you're not afraid to kind of play around with it. Don't worry, I totally sucked when I first started. You look back at my early videos and it's like, oh my God, what was I doing? And that's just all part of the learning process. But when you start creating enough, you get good at it, and you've got this whole library of content that you can reference. And I also love that, like, let's say I did a video on, I just taught one on how to make corn tortillas the authentic way. And I had Graciela, who's one of our migrant workers. She came into my kitchen. She taught me how to make them the way they make them. And it went crazy in my community. And I think I put that on the YouTube channel. I put it on my Facebook page. I put it everywhere. And I love it because, 5 months from now, I can, when people have kind of forgotten that I did that video, if something comes up, I can be like, hey, here's a video that I did. Watch it again. Remember, this was really good. So that new people, new eyeballs can get their eyes on it and see it. So just having a library, a place where you can put that stuff, I think is really, really valuable, especially if you're keeping an archive of it. I have a Google Doc where I keep track of every video I post, and I put the URL link and the topic, so that if I have somebody who says, hey, I can't remember how to freeze sweet corn. I know you did a video about it. Can you tell me where it is? I can quickly find it because it's on my Excel database in that Google Doc, right? So again, YouTube channel has been really huge, and I'm really going to focus on that a lot more this coming winter. I'm going to kind of change it around. I'm going to do a better job of tagging, using keywords, so that people can discover me. All right. Number 9 is a business card or paper flyer. I know you're probably surprised that I'm saying that because I'm all into digital marketing. Listen, I still think there's a place for an actual paper product that you can hand to someone, because a lot of times you're having a conversation with someone at the farmer's market. You're basically cultivating a lead. And it's nice to be able to give them something and say, here's my business card, or here's a small postcard flyer about my CSA. And all it needs to have, it doesn't need to have a lot of information. In fact, don't put a lot of information on it. It's confusing. All it really needs to have is, the basics, and your email address, your contact information, your website, and probably a picture of smiley, happy people using your product, and so maybe some of the features and benefits of the product that you're selling, right? The price point, maybe, but I don't even know if you need to put that on there. Just something that you can hand to someone. This is also a great thing to use to give to your customers to market for you. So, to turn them into brand ambassadors and say, hey, I've got this piece of paper, this flyer. Would you pass them out to somebody that you know would be interested? And so it's just nice to have that, especially if it's well designed. I get a lot of comments from people who are like, it just looks so beautiful that I'm proud to share it with someone. So think about that. Like the design style does kind of matter for that sort of thing. You want people, they're going to be more likely to give it away if it looks nice. Okay, number 10, marketing asset that I think you need is a professional picture of your product. Okay, now this is different than the smiley, happy people using your product. This is actually on your product page, okay? When people go to the page where it's got the things that you're selling, the half share, the full share, the fruit share, the egg share, the coffee share, the whatever share you got, the beef share, you need to have a good picture of the actual product so that the person sees it and it's clear, this is what I'm getting. So this is also something that I need to work on. I have most of these in place, but I don't have a picture of my large box share, my full share right now. I have a picture with that box in it, but it's got way more produce around it than actually comes with the box. So it's a little misleading. So I told my photographer, Jess, I'm like, listen, I need you to make a picture that's really pretty that I can put in that product page image spot on my website, so that it's a clear description, visual description of what they're getting. So I also think that these should be professionally done, unless you're a really, really good photographer. Like if you take good pictures, and you can tell if you are, then go for it and filter it and do some cool stuff with it. But I feel like these shots probably need to be done by a photographer, and it might be worth it to spend a couple $100 to have someone come out for the day and just rearrange stuff on a wagon or on a pallet or whatever on a background so that it looks nice and so it has the right lighting and so forth. Okay, and as a bonus, as I was preparing this morning, I'm looking at the list and I'm like, dang, there's really one more that I want to add, but then that messes up the symmetry of top 10 lists. So I'm going to add a bonus 11th item because this really needs to be on here, because this is my workhorse for my business. If I didn't have these in place, I would not be having the success that I'm having right now. And it is an email drip campaign. Now this is different than the customer onboarding drip campaign. That's once you've already gotten the customer, emails start dripping out to them and nurturing them and telling them and guiding them what to do. What I'm talking about here is the email sales sequence that I drip out to CSA leads. So once a person has downloaded my lead magnet, let's say it's the harvest calendar. I go into ConvertKit and I tell ConvertKit, hey, when somebody comes through this form and they fill it out and they get this lead magnet sent to them, I want you to automatically tag them, put a little flag next to their name, and the tag says CSA lead. And then I also tell ConvertKit, when someone gets the CSA lead tag, automatically subscribe them to my drip campaign for CSA leads. And this drip campaign is probably 10 to 12 emails long. It doesn't have to be that long. I'm a little verbose. I need to work on that. But over the course of 3 weeks, those 10 to 12 emails drip out, and slowly tell them, teach them. I might share a video link of, what does a box look like. I have another video, 3-part video series of, how do you know if CSA is right for you? I kind of go through those questions with them that I had in the lead magnet. I share freebies. I give them free ebooks for vegetables. I give them free sneak peeks of some of the awesome trainings that are inside the academy, and I talk about this SL Farms Membership Academy, the virtual membership academy, and how that's going to help them learn how to use their food. I show them some of these resources that come with their membership, and I talk about some of these features, right? So by the end, then I start sharing the offer, and I'm like, hey, here's how you can be a part of this special community. Here's the call to action. Join my community now. You get a discount if you do it the next 5 days, blah, blah, blah. So this is all like part of a process to slowly warm them up. So I kind of love bomb them at the front end and give them a bunch of free stuff that also educates them and help them learn the lay of the land of our brand. And then by the end, hopefully some of them are intrigued enough to want to buy. Now, not all of these people convert, but a percentage of them do. And they would not convert if I didn't have this thing in place. And what I love about it is that it's automatic. I am not on the phone, trying to get people who've shown interest in my farm to follow up and get them to join. I am not constantly sending out Facebook ads, just hoping that they fly into the internet world and stick on someone. I have their email address, and that is what I use to cultivate and nurture them. So this is huge. In fact, I feel like it should be number 3 or 4. I can't believe I didn't put it in the list. And I feel like if you're a beginner and you start trying to do what I do, what I tell people to build first is the lead magnet and this drip campaign, because this gets put in place first and it just starts working for you in the background, because it takes a while for these leads to become warm, right? A cold lead is not ready to shell out $400 the first time they come to your website. They're just not. In fact, industry-wide, it's very rare for someone to convert right away the first time they come to your website. Outside our industry, that's also true. So just know that if you're relying on someone to just see an ad on Facebook and come to your page and be like, I want to do that, that hardly ever happens. They usually see you first, they learn about you in some way, they're starting to think about it, maybe they see the ad, they keep thinking about it, maybe they go to the website, they keep thinking about it, and maybe 3 months later, they might do it if they happen to see another ad. But if you have a drip campaign in place that's there, and that just keeps teaching them, then they get more comfortable, they do their research, they see social proof testimonials, they get all those 4 reasons people buy happen in that drip campaign, and they're like, okay, I'm ready. So this is a really key piece to help nurture your people along the customer journey and get them to convert. And if you don't have that, what happens is they just float off into netherworld, and you don't have a way to follow up with them. Now, not all of my people convert. They come to the end of that drip campaign and it's over, but they're still on my email list, and I send a weekly email out to everyone on that list, regardless, on Sundays. And right now, I'm not pitching anything. I'm just teaching them stuff. I'm sharing them my blog post, or I'm sharing a cool tip that I learned. And then when I hit my launch season in the end of October, when I'm really trying to fill those last spaces up after my early bird campaign, that's when I will activate another email launch campaign to those people, and I'll try to get them to sign up again. So that's the strategy that I use, and it has been working really, really well for me. Those email sales sequences are huge, and I will eventually teach you how to write those. I'm going to create a whole copywriting kind of series here coming up soon, because I feel like that's something that really needs to be taught here yet still, and teaching you how to create, how to know, how to use your words, the style, the templates that you need to move people through that copywriting journey. So, okay, that was the 11 marketing assets that I think you need in order to, those are the ones that I use. Let's put it that way. And I'm sure that at least half of them are things that you probably need. Here's what I want you to think about doing. My call to action to you is, especially if you're a beginner, I want you to pick out at least one, maybe two things that you're going to say, I'm going to get those done by December. I'm going to focus on those two things. And don't try to do all 11 or your mind's going to blow up. That's just, I didn't build 11 things in 6 months, okay? These have happened over 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. So pick the two that have the most, that seem like low-hanging fruit for you. Put those in place and slowly build this machine out. These are the pieces of the marketing machine for me, and they don't all work and fire on all cylinders until they're all in place, at least for me. So it's a process of getting them there, but once they're there, I really just have to do a few maintenance things every week to kind of keep the brand in front of people's eyeballs. I continue to create content every week and just kind of keep putting it out there. But these sales machines, the stuff that I put in the background in my email service provider is what's doing the work for me, and that's all automatic now. Like I write that once a year and then I step away. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Listen, I'm gonna do something right before I did this video, I'm like, I should really put this all in a list so they can just print it out. So if you wanna have this list of 11 things, kind of like a checklist, I'm gonna go make that here in the next few hours, and I'm gonna put it on my website so that you can download it. So hopefully you'll give me your email address if you haven't already. You'll be able to get it at sharedlegacyfarms.com/10 things, the number 10 things. And this is going to subscribe you to my email list. I'm not going to lie, but one of the reasons I am hoping that will happen is that you will automatically get subscribed to my welcome email campaign. And I have a bunch of free things to give away to you. I have a whole bunch of marketing assets that have worked for me that are part of that drip campaign that you can kind of download and take a look at. I think it's really valuable, a really valuable piece of information. So hopefully you'll want to get on that email list. If you don't like it after 2 emails, unsubscribe, that's fine. But I'm trying to get you into this community and kind of get you through my onboarding sequence so that you can catch up and sort of be on the same page as everyone else. All right, that's it for now, you guys. I will catch you next week for the next training all about marketing for CSA Farms. Take care, guys. Bye.